How's it going? Happy Friday. Very happy Friday. Today, rather than tea, I'm going to be doing ginger ale. Party time. Um, excuse me while I pour. Pretty good. Um, the ones that I had in England were like super ginger. It's like, whoa. Um, I think it's originally a Jamaican thing. Although they had some that were from Bermuda. But the thing is, being honest, this is relatively tame. I mean, it makes sense given that it's from Canada, but the Jamaican stuff said something like "Bring the fire" on the can. Whatever. Um, so I'm just gonna keep this personal, a little light, a little less academic, heady. Talk more about myself, as most egocentrics do. So I just got a job. I got offered a job. I've done a lot of the onboarding paperwork, which was ridiculous. There are like 25 things to do. They want pictures, like a headshot. They want me to do a fingerprint thing. They want me to do a piss test. Um, it's, I mean, it was ridiculous. I understand that they have to sort of cover everything, and it's a financial industry job, so they're a lot more regulated than say making furniture. Um, but I'm actually not sure when I'll start. But just you don't know what a relief that is. It's everything that I've been hoping for. At least getting a job, and you know it pays pretty well. Um, but it is only a 6 month contract. It's sort of a temporary to permanent situation. I think that I won't give away the name. I think I signed something saying that I shouldn't do that. But don't like to count my chicks before they've hatched, but it's in Delaware. Uh, so I've never actually gone to Delaware on purpose. If you know the United States, on the East Coast of the United States, that you drive on 95, which is the major highway on the East Coast, um, you drive from, like, say, Washington, D.C. to Philadelphia. You drive through Delaware, like the top little bit of Delaware, for about 20 minutes, and that's it. Um, so I've never actually done anything in Delaware. I think maybe I stopped to take a piss once, but, you know, I actually maybe that's not true. When I was a kid and we lived in the suburbs of Philadelphia, people used to drive down to Delaware because they have no sales tax. And my wife works there, and she does like a lot of our shopping there. She's like, "Oh my God, there's no sales tax. There's no sales tax on food in Pennsylvania, but if you want to buy things, I think it's 6 or 7% here. It adds up if you're buying something big, but given the fact that credit cards are only tip my hand there. So I have credit cards. They've been mounting up, and the contract's only 6 months. I kind of have to pay them off before I start spending. If it's only 6 months, it's kind of in economics they call it a windfall, where you psychologically treat the money that you get as a windfall, just a one-off payment. Um, uh, Much differently than you do if you have a steady income. They've done economic psychological research on that, and the behavior is starkly different. Likewise, they tax it differently. Well, this won't technically be windfall, but taxes on things like bonuses or like lottery winnings or um, uh, um, winnings at the casino or something. Which is funny because I only live few blocks away from a casino. It's very strange to see a casino in the city. I won't knock people who go there, but it's not a place for me. When you learn economics and statistics, and you look at um, lotteries and gambling, and it's a mug's game, really. As some people call it, the tax on the stupid. Yeah, I guess it's fun to have a flutter, as they say in England. But I remember one of the first times I went out with my wife. We went down to Atlantic City. I didn't. It wasn't my choice. She wanted to go. Um, we actually went into the Trump Casino. Not paying anything more than that. That was just the place where it was. And she's like, I've never been in the casino before. I said, it's not really that much. So we went in there. Uh, I don't know. Got about $5 worth of chips. We went to the craps table, which is I think a little bit more um, fun, interactive. The odds on it are not that they're not that great. They're not that bad either. Depending if you just bet seven, you should be fine. Um, or you're better off betting seven, but the payoff's not that great. Anyway, we bet on there a couple of times. Won the first time, won the second time, uh, and ended up getting about I don't know $15. I don't really remember it, to be honest with you. And then yeah, I just took the money and got some ice cream with it. So, thanks. I don't think Donald Trump's been associated with that place in a long time, but at least then it still bore the name Trump Casino. So anyway, I have some other news. If you look in the description of this video, you'll see a list of websites, URLs, for those in the know. um, and I have a blog, and I started it in 2015. Basically, I'd started reading great books, and I wanted to take notes on them because I had read that Eric Hoffer, the philosopher, uh, sociologist. It's hard to pin him down with a title. I read that he took notes on everything he read. And then when he died, he lived alone. His house was just like wall to wall notebooks of everything he'd read, all the pertinent ideas that he got from that. And I thought that would be really cool, except for I don't want anybody to have to wade through notebooks like that. But given that the guy died in the early 80s, he didn't have the internet at his hands. And so I figure if I could create a blog. And so I started with these great books. It started with like Plato and there's stuff on the Bible, and there's Shakespeare, and there's his historical stuff. There's uh, philosophy, economics, a little bit of everything. I think every book, great books that you should know, books that kind of gave the Western world its sort of spine and meat and skin. So anyway, I started writing all my notes on there and didn't really think about it too much. Bought a domain name. So I actually started this before this. The domain, it's called Know It All to Know Nothing. Don't worry about it. I'm going to get to that point. It's a terrible name, I know. But the point is that the time when I was sort of like hemming and hawing about, oh, should I change it? I started getting traction on it. I started getting a lot of ad revenue. Not a lot, but better than zero. Like enough that the website paid for itself and gave me a little bit of money. Which is really encouraging that he's like, I actually make money off of this, as a hobby. That's really cool. So anyway, I think a lot of it is like people, students who are looking for a little bit of help. I do not give away the plot. I mean, I do give away the plot. These are all books, so spoiler alerts are stupid. I mean, I'm not writing essays for people. I'm not eating for them. I'm just, some of these books are really hard to wrap your mind around, and I try to sum it up as quickly as possible, as fun as possible, yet still maintain the what I got out of out of the work. And suddenly, when I had to change the host, just because the host that I had was jacking up its prices, and I was like shopping around. I was like, this place is like one quarter the price. I had a good reputation. So I went over and bought, I got new hosting for them. I kept the URL, but I didn't really, I just thought it would just be a switch, almost like going from, I don't know, like you switch from like, regular petroleum to diesel, you still go, right? You still go to the same place. Well, apparently, switching over to this host just totally screwed up my stats. I mean, they dropped like a rock. And right at the time when I was getting like beep 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 beep, it just coincided with the time when I had to renew, and I decided not to renew, and something happened. So, so I'm not married to the name. I'm at a point where I'm like, I really want this to start going, even if it just pays for a bill every now and again, like the electric or something like that. Given that I have to light up the room just to get this camera to work, but um, I I decided that since the website is really just cratered and as far as its traffic is concerned, I'm looking at changing and just going to start over again. I'm still going to keep the notes and then publish them on the new site, but I decided that I was going to actually devote, buy a new domain name, something that's easily searchable, easily remembered. Um, and I'm going to start using SEO tactics, the search engine optimization tactics. Now, I watched a couple videos on them. They're actually pretty intense. It's not just like um, fluff, but I think it's going to be an interesting thing to try to trick Google into recommending your website. But the thing is that I notice with the CEO, the more research I do, the more like corny it gets with the people who do it. It's almost like a cult where they're just trying to. I don't know. Like it really just smells weird. Looking at the Reddits and the subreddits and the websites that devote their whole cause to SEO. It just kind of smells of a club that I just don't want to be a part of. But from what I gather, it does work. So maybe it seems like it'd be difficult to do, but I'll give it a try and see if I can actually turn a few bucks off of it. So anyway, that's enough of the blog news. There are a couple notes I wanted to make about the news. Now, I'm not going to get anything specific. I'm not going to talk about abortion or who you should vote for president or inflation. Maybe I'll talk about that. I do have 2 degrees in economics. We studied inflation, causes, solutions, effects, all that. It seems to me that when you think about it, the public, the government, the media can only focus on maybe 2 or 3 things at a time. So if you just look at this year, I mean, this year, there was a lot of push and pull about um, uh, coronavirus, like travel, like restrictions, whether you had to wear a mask on an airplane or here in Philadelphia, have to wear masks inside public places and things like that, like going to the supermarket or the mall or whatever. And there was a lot of like butting heads about this. And the moment that Russia invaded the Ukraine, a lot of that talk sort of just disappeared. It's almost as if like there was, you can only like have one thing in your mind at a time. Like like I am a firm believer that um, multitasking is nonsense. You can only do one thing at a time. I mean, given like, okay, you can listen to music and work. Sometimes you need to focus. You have to pause the music, and then, but largely, you can't you can't do two things at once. You have to do little bits and little bits, and sometimes there's a startup and stopping, winding down time that maybe makes it a little bit longer when you add up all the little bits. So maybe sometimes it's easier just to do it all at once. But sometimes if you're doing a project with somebody and they're not, they're in some other office, you have to send them an email, you give them their work, and then they do their bit, and then they send it back to you. Well, while they're working on their bit, you can do something else. So I guess that's a form of multitasking. That's a digression. So I think that the government can only hold on to one or two or three things at the most. And the media are also this way. And it's strange because the media have 24 hours they need to fill. Yet they can only fill it with one or two things. I find that crazy. That you can't, that the moment that this leak about Roe versus Wade maybe being overturned, suddenly coronavirus that's ancient history. What's going on in the Ukraine with Russia? That's no longer interesting to the media. They have to everything all the time is about either inflation, like about hiding inflation, but not talking about it, or talking about uh, the whole Roe versus Wade thing. I mean, nobody's really talking about and there are other things like that. So like a lot of like Ron DeSantis down in Florida is making a big stink about things, and anytime he does something there that everybody, other people don't like, some other news just kind of like takes the attention away. So like people have very short memories in politics and in the media, and I think that if you are, let's say, cynically minded, you can find a way to use that to your advantage. Is that you could just drop some kind of bombshell, let the dust settle, and then something else is just going to take the attention away. Um, and very little anymore is permanent. Um, and I think it's kind of that's to say that like I think it's kind of sad that because it seems like the media and the politicians are really almost causing chaos. That they have to focus on things that you notice what's in the news is everything is terrible, right? I went for a walk. And because I'm in a good mood because I just got a job, it rained on me. And I had said something to my wife. Now, mind you, I do have um let's call it depression, let's be honest. And I told her, I said, you know what, I'm just tired of it raining on me all the time. With my mother, with my job, other things. I'm just tired of it raining on me. So anyway, today I got the job. I did all the work, the onboarding stuff. And then I went for a run and it started raining. And I thought, I don't mind it raining on me. So as bad as everything is when you look at any news page, turn on any news channel, you go outside and it's nice that it's raining. And I just think like it really is kind of like I feel like the news is kind of creating chaos so that you feel bad. And it hooks you into, I feel bad because the thing is like if you're angry about something, you want updates. You're addicted to your anger. It's very because it's I don't know if it's the anger that you're addicted to, but it's the self-righteous indignation at the news. That bad news is an affront to you, to what you think is right in the world. And you feel righteous because you have a way that the world ought to work. And here is something, some people, right? Some evil person like Saddam Hussein or, like Putin or, everybody, you need a bad guy to kind of focus your hatred on. Or, people will do that in this country with Donald Trump, or do it with Joe Biden. You need to focus your hate on somebody. And that, Orwell had that in mind, that 2 minutes of hate where they'd put some guy's face up on the wall and people would just shout all at him. And for 2 minutes to get it all out, because there was some kind of like self-righteous sort of post 2 minutes of hate sort of high that you would get. And but the thing is, like, what they do is they actually have to cause the chaos in the world in order for that to happen. And the thing is, it doesn't really need to be this kind of chaos. I mean, the coronavirus happened, right? There's not much we can do about that. I don't know if anything could have been done to prevent Ukraine from being invaded. But if you look at everything else, I think that the overall public demand for chaos is quite low. We actually like things the way they are. I mean, there's some things we need to fix, but I don't really need to upset anything. I like, I personally, I'm fairly conservative in the sense of, like, I like things the way they are. I don't like change very much. I don't think most people do unless you're really at the bottom. Then you don't mind a revolution because it certainly beats being broke and, I don't know, under somebody's heel. But when created chaos happens, and only just to sell news, like ads on newspapers or news channels, I'm looking at the TV over there, or in news sites, it's unnecessary. No matter what your politics are, you shouldn't really cave into it. And I think by satisfying your addiction to feeling morally self-righteous, you're feeding the machine. So, I'm not saying don't pay attention to news, but just like any market that's in a crisis, like, so the market's not doing very well. Last thing you should be doing as an investor is looking at your numbers, your returns, your position. You should not be looking at that. It's going to drive you nuts. If things are going really well, go ahead, look at them all day. Just look at all the dividends coming in, and look how much return I'm getting on my investment. Don't do that when everything is bad. It's only going to make you even more upset. So anyway, as far as these videos are concerned, I don't know how often I'm going to be able to do them. I'm going to be apparently this job's going to be working. It's a hybrid, like 2 days at home, 2 days at work in the office. So perhaps I can squeeze in a video here and there. But it's pretty good that I don't do them every day anyway. I would run out of things to talk about because I'm already there. So congratulations to me, and I'll give you some more updates on things as they go on and a little bit more of whatever's going on with me. So, see you soon. Bye.